Hi, my name is Victoria Dolan, and here is my presentation on the initiative and referendum of the Arizona Constitution. So this is something kind of unique to Arizona, and I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that. So, what are the initiative and the referendums? So, initiatives allow for voters to have more complex participation. So, voters are allowed to propose laws or other statutes, collect signatures, and get those eventually to be on the ballot so that they're able to pass them. Referendums are the approval or a rejection of a law already passed by the legislature of the state. So, the initiative process. First, you must file an application with the Arizona Secretary of State, circulate the petition, and collect signatures. So, that would be someone proposes a law or a statute, they collect signatures from their neighborhood or other people that are in support of this law. Then they submit the petition for verification. Once that is verified and there's enough signatures, the initiative will go on a ballot. Then the state will get to vote yes or no. So for statutory change, you need 10% of the electors to vote yes or to sign for it. And that will be a variable amount of signatures. It's not always a set 1,000 or 10,000. It does vary. And then for a constitutional change, meaning the Arizona Constitution, you would need 15% of electors to sign on to that before it goes onto the ballot. Passing a referendum, this is a little different. The Arizona State Legislature passes a law, and then the citizens file a petition to reject it, and that must be done within 90 days of the legislature passing that. 5% of the votes that were cast for governor is the amount of signatures needed to pass this. If the conditions are met, the referendum is put on the ballot to be passed or rejected. And that is all from the Arizona Secretary of State. So, initiative versus referendum. They're alike in that they both require petitions and signatures for approval. And this does include statewide voters. It also includes direct democracy tools. That would be one person, one vote. The U.S. Constitution uses representative democracy. So we're kind of represented by those legislators that the Arizona citizens have a chance to kind of veto. Differences: initiatives create laws and statutes, referendums reject or veto them. And initiatives need 10 or 15% signatures, referendums only require 5. So, the pros of initiatives: they amplify the voices of citizens. Citizens are more heard, they're more involved in the electoral process, in the lawmaking process, and they are also able to bypass the legislature. This increases political engagement of the general population, and different ways to measure that is voter turnout, but signing petitions is definitely a big one. Cons: it can cost a lot to mobilize and do these sorts of things or to create traction and support. And due to the fact that not everyone is fluent in legal jargon, that informal and faulty drafting can be somewhat of an issue writing these statutes or changes to the Constitution. On to referendums. Pros of this is kind of a check power on the state legislature. It promotes accountability, so laws are more carefully passed and crafted since there's a higher chance of them getting shot down by the public. And this allows for citizens to strike down laws that they disagree with. Cons: it can delay implementation of the laws. So, if a referendum gets put on a ballot a couple of times to be vetoed, that will obviously take longer. Say that the veto fails, it just prolonged how long it takes for that law to be implemented, which can be kind of an issue. And referendums can also be used by interest groups rather than everyday citizens. So if there's laws against red dye 40 or carbon or something like that, interest groups realistically could find a way to get on the ballot in order to support things that would be in their interest. This is a really great example of the direct democracy in Arizona. Article 4, Part 1, Section 1 of the Arizona Constitution endows the power of initiatives and referendums to the Arizona Constitution, and it gives that power to the people. Citizens get the final authority over the law. In the end, Arizona voters are just much more empowered, and it ensures government responsiveness. There are some pros and cons, but the average citizen in Arizona gets a much larger say in what their laws and what their constitution says than maybe the next citizen or that of Illinois, which I am from Illinois. So this was very interesting to me. Here is references, and thanks for tuning in. I hope you have a great Wednesday evening. And that's all. Thank you.